I'm a bit of a creature of habit, so even though I don't set my alarm, I wake up most every morning at 6:34. I like to pour myself a cup of French vanilla coffee and then put French vanilla creamer in it. And then I usually sit down with Darlene and we kind of plan out our day and check out our messages and read our phones. Then I usually like to go for a swim. Recently bought this swim spa, but the cover won't go down and it won't go up. So we're kind of stuck right now. We have the guys from Cedar Works out and they're working on it, and they told me, well, why don't you leave for the day, and by the time you come back, we should be ready to go. So went ahead and made breakfast. My normal breakfast is 2 scrambled eggs, and I put them on ham and a tortilla and make a bit of a taco. I make sure I give Cooper his egg and shell and his dog food and his medicine. And then I usually head to work. I have about a 22-mile drive to work. It's a pretty beautiful drive, pretty fortunate in that. And our office is pretty much just right on the edge of town that we live closest to. So about a year ago, my son Casey and I bought this business condominium. So it's about a little over 2,000 square foot building. And we bought it so that he could have his business and run it from here. And as we've gotten further along, he only needed half the space, so we went ahead and remodeled and created this reception area, and then we remodeled two offices, and so that gives me a place to come into work every day and spend time doing different things that I like to do. And this is where my videos are made. Nothing too fancy, pretty sparse, just enough for me to have a place to make videos and try to live an abundant life. Someday we'll spend more time discussing this office building, but we bought it. It's in an opportunity zone, and as I've mentioned in the past, my goal is to buy 1 building per year, and so this met the need for last year. But one of the things that I've found that I really enjoy about this building is its proximity to walking and bike riding paths. So this path is probably about 100 yards from our front door, and I usually like to go for walks 2 or 3 times a week or ride my bike. My walks are usually about 2 to 5 miles long, and on a recent walk I got the inspiration for this video as I came upon this triplex that Darlene and I actually bought back in 2003 for $210,000. We put a down payment of $42,000, so 20% on this triplex. Our monthly rental income was $2,250. There was 3 units, each paid $750 a month, and the monthly expense was $1,450, creating a monthly tax-free cash flow of $800. This should cause some questions to kind of pop up in your head. Question number 1 is, how did I know that this would create a positive cash flow? And if you've watched any of my previous videos, especially one where I talk about our first commercial real estate property, I made sure to pencil it out. And I was very confident when we bought it. It had 2 of the 3 units were rented, and I was very confident we could rent the 3rd one quickly. We would be able to get $750 a month, which we were, for each of the units, and that we would be able to keep our expenses low. It had only been built about 5 or 6 years before we bought it. The next question this should cause you to think of is, well, how is that tax-free money? That $800 a month, I called that tax-free. So one of the benefits of owning rental property is that you get to utilize depreciation. Depreciation is where you get an expense for the value of the building, not for the land, but for the value of the building. So we bought this building for, as I mentioned earlier, for $210,000. We allocated 10% of that towards the land, so $20,000, $21,000, and that allowed us to depreciate the remainder, the $189,000. So what that means to you is that on your tax return, you get an additional expense. And for us, that additional expense ended up being somewhere in the neighborhood of $8,000 to $9,000 a year. So that, along with other expenses, just wiped out that profit of $800 a month or $9,600 a year. So on your tax return, you would show zero profit, but yet every month we continued to put $800 of cash in our bank account. So it was tax-free money. So another question that you could be asking then is, well, why did you sell it? So we had gotten to a point, we'd owned it for about 14 years, where you could see that the depreciation expense was going to be going away. Like I said, it's between 15 and 20 years that you can depreciate the property. And so we were getting to the end of that depreciation. So pretty soon we were going to have to start paying taxes because we'd no longer have as much in the expense department. So that was another reason why we thought it's time to sell. Now when you sell, you're going to hopefully sell for a profit. And we did. We sold this piece of property in 2016 for $290,000. You remember we bought it for $210,000 and we sold it for $290,000, so we had another $80,000 of profit. So we had roughly $9,600 a year in tax-free profit. Then when we sold it, we had another $80,000 of profit. So how do we make that tax-free? After we sold this property and made the profit of $80,000, we then took that money and we moved it to this building. So by buying a building that costs more than what we sold our original property for, that made us eligible for a 1031 like-kind exchange. A 1031 exchange is a provision in the Internal Revenue Code that allows a business or the owners of the investment property to defer federal taxes on some exchanges of real estate. The provision is used by investors who are selling one property and reinvesting the proceeds in one or more other properties. So that's what we did. When we sold the triplex, we had $80,000 of profit, plus other monies, our down payment money, plus what we had paid down in the loan. We had to take all of that money that we got from the sale of the triplex and move it into this building. We then were able to start the whole process over again. So this building was more expensive, so we had depreciation once again that we could deduct every year. And so now, every year we have rental income from this business. It's quite a bit higher than from the triplex because it's a bigger building, but the depreciation is also bigger. So we're able to write off that expense. And so at the end of the year, on our tax return for this building, it shows a profit of zero or some years even a loss, yet in our bank account, we're able to put cash in it every year. So by the way, my swim spa is still not done. Hopefully they'll be able to get this done in the next few days. I'll give you an update on it next week. I hope you have a great day. I hope you have an abundant life. Take care.